Good morning. It is Saturday the 9th of May. We've had our cold space, and I guess snow fell during the evening. But it didn't stick around because it wasn't that much around in this area. But between the murder hornets and snow at the beginning of May, makes you wonder what kind of plague is coming next. It's kind of crazy, folks. I don't have much to tell you about crochet. I've been working on making nose pieces and bending nose pieces for my next rounds of mask. That is one portion you have to do if you do bendable nose pieces. And I put those in all of my masks with the exception of children's masks because that's not recommended by the CDC. And it's really not recommended for any children under the age of 2 to wear masks. So I try not to make very many children's masks. If I can avoid it, there are some times when I have smaller pieces of fabric, so I will make some children's masks. And I'm going to answer a question about the mask. I had someone who recently subscribed and had asked me about the video where I'm telling you I'm selling you the mask for $9 each, $5, and then the $4 to cover the shipping. And she said, but I went to your Etsy shop and you're selling masks for a little higher price. Yes, that is true. But all the funds from all the mask selling that I'm making are actually going to pay for the shipping of the other masks that that you guys don't see, that I'm sending to facilities, healthcare places, nursing homes, VA homes, those kind of things. And so that is what those sales are for, is to pay for the shipping, because not all of the facilities can afford to ship. There are some that have agreements that are made with shipping companies, UPS, FedEx. A couple of them will pay for the postage with the post office, but by far most of them do not. So you have to either be wealthy and spend that money for shipping, but I am not. I do try to put all of my bags into one of those like $15, $16 boxes, priority mail. That seems to be the easiest because those masks aren't going to weigh more than 22 pounds in that box. So, I try to shoot for filling a box like that each time and sending. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you'll get a request from some group or whatever, says we need 50 masks, and that doesn't fill that box. So you gotta come up with shipping on your own. But that's what I've been doing with the sales on Etsy, is using that money to pay for the shipping to go for other boxes. So that's the difference, okay? That is why there is a difference in price, as well as you have to consider all of Etsy's, or as a lot of us call it, eats me, fees. They take out all kinds of fees. They take out a fee for the transaction that you make. They also take out a fee for the transaction of the shipping. Then they also charge you a fee for, just putting the item up. As each item sells, they take 20 cents each item. They charge you 20 cents up front for a big listing, but then again, when you go and someone purchases it, they charge you another 20 cents for that. So, and I think their transaction fee is close to $2, and the cut of their shipping is the transaction for paying for the shipping with Pitney Bowes. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I could work on making my own website and using my own thing, and I just haven't done that yet. In the background, I have been working on setting up a website, but when you're busy making masks, you have less time to do that. Some of you will notice, if you had favorited my Etsy shop, that I have posted quite a few new items from the print-on-demand supplier that I use. Yesterday I did a whole lot of I'm taking a nap, I'm creating some new items, playing around, finding out how come, an order someone made back in first part of March hasn't shipped yet, from the print-on-demand companies, which I am glad now the print-on-demand company now has changed in the description area where it tells you how long it takes to ship. Instead of the 7 to 10 days they were doing previous to this whole pandemic, was 7 to 10 days and you would get it. Well, it was taking 3 to 4 weeks. So now they've changed it to 2 to 4 weeks. So it's crazy. They're trying to keep up, still trying to work, meet the needs, because a lot of people have been buying t-shirts, print-on-demand t-shirts, in their quarantine, and I can understand why. Get bored, go shopping. We all kind of do it. I've done it for fabric, in my downtime, because I need fabric, which I got 2 new pieces of fabric, a zebra print and a cheetah print, and I had thought about making masks with them. Now the zebra print I think will be fine for making masks, but I don't know about the cheetah. I like to have fun when I'm making masks, okay? That's why I use the balloon animals and the minion eyes and the chickens and tie-dyed batiks that I had, because I want to see something fun besides something that's just utilitarian. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Still making the mask, although yesterday I just took a day off. I even took a nap. It was glorious. Been outside a couple times, but it's been rainy here, and then today it's cold. That's why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. My husband doesn't like to turn up the heat in the house, and it's bad enough during winter. I sit in a vortex because this door here does not have good weatherization. There's a gap like this underneath at the bottom of the door, and that was their fix to the weatherization. The gap used to be bigger, so we do have a draft dodger there, and I had considered making a quilt, like a quilt curtain to hold in the cold, but decided against it. But the vortex is because right around that way is the kitchen. And the kitchen door has the same thing. So we seal them up as good as we can, with draft dodgers and things like that. But you get like a breeze almost that comes through here of cold air. It's great in the summer. Not so much in the winter. And of course, my husband's chair, right over there, big boy chair, sits right at the edges of both of the radiating heat. And it's electric heat. I hate electric heat. But, it runs along one side of his chair and like this on the other. So his chair is like in the center there. So he gets hot. Turns the heat down. It's an ongoing battle. And I've told him, I said, I'd love for you to sit over here. Let's just change our chairs around. Well, he's not willing to do that. I can't say I blame him. But, it's kind of funny because we argue about that all the time. So there are times I tell him, I said, you need to turn the heat up because I'm literally freezing to death over here. But we have a good laugh about it every now and then. And still, people, I have found over this past week that I'm getting angrier and angrier by people who will not wear their masks the proper way. I have sent emails to the Surgeon General. I have sent emails to Pence, to Trump, to Fauci, to Dr. Birx, that they need to do a video on the proper way to wear a mask. Because although they tell you to wear a mask, they have yet to show you exactly how to wear one properly. And again, people got them under their nose. And I'm finding myself, when I see someone like that, saying, why are you bothering to wear your mask? And when they go, what do you mean? I said, well, it doesn't do you any good or anybody else any good if it's under your nose. It needs to cover your nose. That's how the little booger gets in. Mostly is through your nose. Well, I can't breathe. Well, then use the pickup service. Don't endanger the rest of us. I'm getting ugly about it. Find myself angrier and angrier about it. So I gotta do some work there. Practice that kindness. Find a gentler way to tell them you're a dumb. What are you gonna do? But generally, a lot of people, I will say to them, why are you wearing it that way? And when they say, what do you mean? And I explain that to them. Generally, they will put the mask on the proper way, but every once in a while you get someone that says, I can't breathe with it. Which is nonsense. It is nonsense. That is psychological. That's in your brain. Because, seriously, you can breathe with the mask on. You just choose not to. And a lot of people are mouth breathers. I have been technically a mouth breather most of my life. However, as being a nurse working in infectious disease, I learned to breathe through my nose when I'm wearing a mask. It does change and make it easier. Now, there are some people who literally cannot wear masks for health reasons. Many times if you have oxygen on, it's hard to wear a mask. I have a friend who has glasses and hearing aids, and with the mask, it's hard to maintain all of that. As she said, she had a friend who lost hearing aids because when she took the mask off, hearing aids went with it. She couldn't find them. So, yeah, I see us wearing masks for quite some time. And having said that, some of you that are friends with me, you know that I had posted a link to a movie called Plandemic. And YouTube and Facebook continue to take that down because it does talk about Dr. Fauci and some of the things that he did through his years with research to blackball a certain doctor. Now, I am going to tell you this. When I saw the woman's name, Dr. Mikovits, I remembered thinking I'd seen her name somewhere before. When I was in nursing school and doing research in this newly thing called infectious disease, HIV, AIDS, this was back in the 70s. I was reading about this, And I remember thinking, that's interesting. And then again in the 80s, first part of the 80s, when I started doing some more research into it, I found that there were quite a few articles that she had about that they had separated the AIDS virus in the saliva and other liquids from the body. And they had talked about how infectious the HIV, the AIDS was, but Dr. Fauci was in charge of a lot of that research at the time and would not let it out to the public about how contagious it was and the ways that you could get it. So that didn't get put out there until 1984, but it was there many years before. This woman was one of the pioneers of the infectious disease microbiologist, those kind of things. But Fauci went on a campaign to destroy her career, and he did that successfully with a lot of people. And you have to remember, if you go back and you do some research in Fauci, along with Bill Gates, you'll see that both of them are very big proponents of population control. And one of those ways is to allow diseases to run their course, to kill millions. No big deal, you know. But a lot of people don't know that about these two people. And Fauci did sit on the board of Microsoft and some of the other things that Bill Gates had going on. So, you know, there might be a bit of truth to that. And you know, I love a good conspiracy. However, when I go back and read my journals, I find that I did write a couple of things about some of the research that Mikovits was doing. And so, yeah, I do believe that they have targeted her, and that yes, she is naming names in this Plandemic movie that she is and several people are working on. But what I find rather interesting is the continued, every time someone posts a link, that YouTube and Facebook will take them down. And there's a part of me that goes, you'll take those down, but you'll leave the terrorist pages up, the white supremacy pages up and everything else, and their posts, you'll leave those completely alone. So apparently there is no freedom of speech in the United States anymore, because quite honestly, if it were totally a lie, why would they take the effort to take it down? Makes you wonder. So it does make me wonder, and you know, some of those things I do remember hearing about, reading about, that had happened to this woman's career, what they did to her. So, I don't know. I don't know if they really did plan to allow, or if they continue to do that. You know, Fauci comes across as wanting to be extremely, you know, careful about these studies, double-blind studies and all this. But you know, there are times you don't have time for double-blind studies because millions are dying. So, yeah, it does make you wonder. And I do wonder. But if you can't find that link, and because it keeps getting pulled down off of Facebook or they won't allow it to be shown, you can go to plandemic.com and see it. So far, that site has not been pulled, and I believe it's also on BitChute. So you can still see it there. But it's rather interesting when you hear some of the things that the people that are in big government have done to this woman. So that's it for that part. Now we're going to move on because I have some shout outs. And a lot of these, I do remember going and seeing them. Can I remember exactly? No. So I'm just going to name them out and leave the links down below for you. First one is Crochet Bits and Knits. And I think a lot of hers are tutorials on how to do certain things. Perfectly fine. Then there is Cindy Smith, Yarning with Angela, Lydia Daugherty. Now Lydia's videos are rather dark. There's not a lot of good lighting in them, which kind of reminds me of. Now I love Dina of Homespun Fun, but a lot of her videos are very dark. You know, there's not a lot of good lighting to see. But she has a lot of neat things she's showing you, even though they are rather dark. You know, sometimes we can't control lighting. Like today, I don't have all my lights on. I'm not going to put all my lights up, because I'm just not going to. Then there's Penny, Little Bits of Yarn, the Whispering Stitcher, and then there is Shell, who has handspun and fiber from the art. She is like Sadie's Spinning. I think that's her last name, what her channel is, where she does a lot of spinning fiber and then showing those spun fibers, as well as dyeing, you know, the trying to think of the name of it. The bits of fluff you spin. Or lofts. Something like that. Then there's Britts, Bits of Yarn. She is fairly new as well as Stitches and Scribbles. And then there's Natalie at Forever Froggy. And Alicia at Inayas Toybox Crochet. Suzanne at God Crochet and Chatter. So I think you can figure out that Suzanne is a Christian. And she does love the Lord. And she doesn't mind sharing it with us. And if you do anything, when you go over to see Suzanne's video, check out her intro video, because it's awful cute. And then there is Crystal from Jumping Frog Dream Creations. This is Charlie's friend, and both of them have done dream boxes. So she shows you her dream box, and she is fairly new to the YouTube world as well. So go check these folks out. I think you'll find them very interesting. And give them a welcome. And hopefully you've seen some of them already. I hope so. But I've been enjoying seeing a little bit here and there as I go. I don't always watch a lot of YouTube right now. And just because sewing has taken over for me for a while now. Now, the only other thing is, I got a little bitty thing about YouTube. You know, they're offering certain videos. When you go to click on the video, they ask you, do you want to watch the ads during the video? And then, or do you want to watch 4 in a row now? Sometimes if you watch 4 in a row now, they're fairly short, but sometimes get some of those that are 15 minutes long. So I go make lunch or whatever, you know, during that time. But I've also noticed that everyone I'm subscribed to, My subscribe buttons on those people's channels is bright red. YouTube, you're annoying me. They give us something new and wonderful and they screw up everything else. So yeah, everybody have a great day and I will see you again soon. And wear your mask properly, please, people, when you're out there. Please, please wear your mask properly. I'd hate to have to walk up to you and give you a gib slap at the back of the head.